With Perfection releasing for free, I had to make an explained video for you guys to tell you all about the differences and similarities between JJS's Perfection and JJK's Mahito. Mahito was an unregistered special grade curse spirit that was allied with Kenjaku, who was in control of Suguru Geto's body. He is also the leader of the group known as the Disaster Curses, who were set on their goal of killing all of humanity and replacing them with cursed spirits, essentially making hell on earth. The reason as to why he was their leader is probably due to his special strength. You see, Mahito is the human curse, meaning he is the embodiment of humanity's fear of humans themselves. Then you might ask yourself, why would Mahito be the leader if someone like Jogo is way more destructive and had unlocked domain expansion before him? This is because of the soul. Certain sorcerers and curse users in JJK have the ability to see the contours of the soul. With this, they can acknowledge an aspect of life that most cannot, but Mahito takes this a step further. He can manipulate, control, and shape his or other souls so long as he has made contact with the palm of his hand. This gives Mahito an uncanny-like human will, as well as busted abilities like being able to protect his soul from Yuji and configure his body as he likes. This is why in-game your attacks and abilities cause you to create weapons or distort your body into a weapon. Perfection Special is called Self-Transfiguration and allows you to go into two different M1 modes, being blades and boulders. This is a direct comparison to Mahito's innate technique called Idle Transfiguration. At its bare bones, this is what most of Mahito's attacks stem from because it grants him the ability to reshape souls, including his own. So he can create weapons out of his body, create clones, heal himself, and much more. You see, Mahito used Transfiguration to turn his arms into swords in his first fight with Yuji and Nanami, but they're probably more inspired by his fight in Shibuya, as you can see here. As for the boulders, I think they're inspired by this mace-like attack that he tried to land on Yuji behind his back twice. Either way, Mahito could easily create boulders like this if he wanted to. These M1s also have unique dashes to them. The blade dash is taken from this moment, and the boulder attack probably comes from this moment against Todo. Now let's get into Perfection's moveset, starting off with Stockpile. Stockpile allows you to summon two giant hammers that swing twice until the last swing, which ragdolls your character upwards. A lot of Mahito's attacks stem from these palm-sized transfigure humans he stores up. Yes, these were once living, breathing humans who were compressed into these things. They also still carry some form of consciousness and are capable of low-level speech and expressing emotions. Mahito will then use these to create long-range attacks, but in this instance he uses him to create two hammers to swing at the world's deadliest duo. Stockpile also has an aerial version to it, which only uses one hammer to then slam them into the ground, bypassing block and down slamming your opponent. This is not specifically taken from the anime/manga, but I think that Z needed to add more diverse attacks to Perfection, and what better way to do that than to mimic his natural enemy Yuji by Vessel's crushing blow. But no finisher for this attack. Soulfire is the next move and allows you to transform your arm into a cannon-like weapon, which then fires 3 transfigured humans that ragdoll you on the last bullet. This is an exact copy of JJK because Mahito does precisely this in his battles throughout Shibuya. When it's so close to JJK, there's not much explaining I have to do. Also, no finisher for this attack either.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Up next is the most annoying move in the game called Focus Strike. Honestly, it's not that bad since the nerfs. This is a simple punch move, but what makes it unique is the ability to knock back and combo extend off of it. Before I get into why this is, I have to go over the thing that makes Focus Strike that much deadlier. Focus Strike, when used twice in the correct timing, will allow you to land a black flash just like Vessel's Divergent Fist. This is all because of Mahito's second black flash that he landed on Todo after activating his domain for only 0.2 seconds. This is an insane feat that can be understood after you realize there are only 7 people in the world who have landed black flash attacks, and on top of that, only 2 of them are curses. Also, if I had to give an answer, I would say that base Focus Strike is taken from this black flash since it only stunned him after he concentrated all his curse energy into one spot. The finisher for this attack occurs when you use the black flash variant, which will then launch your opponent into the air and splatter their body into pieces just like Nanami. This isn't taken from any specific fight, but definitely is something Mahito could do. Almost forgot that Focus Strike has a variant called Whiplash. This allows you to create a whip out of your arm that you swing up to pull enemies behind you. I couldn't find anything in the anime/manga that reminds me of this, but comment down below if you know it. The last move before the awakening is titled Body Repel. This grants the user 3 transfigured humans, which are then compressed into a worm-like creature that shoots straight at your target, ensnaring them in its mouth before releasing them after a couple seconds. This is an actual move Mahito uses and can be seen all over his fight with Yuji. It's such a diverse attack that he uses multiple times for various reasons. As you can see, these attacks are uncanny, with the only difference being size and duration, but obviously those are changed due to balancing issues in game. And of course, this attack has no finisher. Poor Perfection users. Also, wouldn't it be cool to have a variant of Body Repel that can either do something like this or even an aerial attack like he used here? Before we get into the awakening, let's talk about the cosmetic changes. When equipped with Perfection, your running animation is changed into this Naruto-like run, and it's not because Mahito is from the Hidden Leaf. The reason is because Mahito can be seen running like that throughout the entire series, so I think it was a great visual change to indicate which character you are fighting. Also, the M1 trail color is purple, which is valid because his curse energy is drawn purple in the anime. Now we get into the fun stuff, literally. Mahito can be such a goofy character, and it's reflected in his awakening moveset. Mahito's awakening is titled Essence of the Soul. This is obviously on theme to Mahito's philosophy of the soul. He believes the human soul exists before the body and is intrigued by its nature. This is later confirmed throughout the story through Kenjaku's curse technique. This awakening is unlike any other in the game due to the requirement to land a black flash attack to achieve it. The range in this attack is very long and can slightly be aimed as you go. Chef's kiss. Mwah. Okay, sorry. That was removed from the game, but let me yap for a bit and I'll get into the new awakening. In Jujutsu Kaisen, Mahito reached a flow state after killing Nobara and lands his first ever black flash on Yuji. According to Todo, the difference of ability to understand the essence of curse energy between those who have landed compared to those who have not landed a black flash is the difference between heaven and earth. Meaning, after Mahito landed that black flash, he changed and started to understand souls even further, therefore allowing him to eventually reach his instant spirit body of distorted killing. The new awakening animation is inspired from this moment where he used Body Repel to push Yuji and Todo away. This also no longer requires a hit upon activation. So firstly, we got Idle Transfiguration. This causes you to run towards your opponent, and after making contact, you will push them away. This move now allows you to hit a black flash if timed correctly right at the moment of impact. This change is canonical though, due to the need to hit 2 black flashes in order to get into the super awakening, which I will get into later. We're not done with Idle Transfiguration yet, because if you were to wait for the cooldown and land this move again, this time instead you would wait a second before seeing your opponent's head explode. If you watch JJK season 2, then this is pretty self-explanatory. Mahito lured Nobara to the subway station with his clones and tricked her so that he could touch her head, resulting in this. Z absolutely cooked with Mahito's moveset. Drill Splitter is the next move and allows you to shapeshift your legs into these things that then pierce into your target, followed by a drill to the body. Realistically speaking, I wasn't able to find anything like this in the anime or manga. The closest thing I saw to a drill was this attack at the high school, but he doesn't use his legs to start it, nor does he drill into Yuji like the move in game. And quickly, I want to give Head Splitter an honorable mention because it's one of my few shorts to hit 1 million views. Unfortunately, it was removed from Perfection's moveset, but here's the scene that it comes from. The penultimate awakened move is called Force Grab. This allows you to enlarge your arm/hand and grab onto your opponent. They then will be stuck in your clutches until you slam them to death or release them, although they can escape by jumping. This is inspired by his fight with Nanami and Yuji, where he held both of them up with a giant fist. Finally is the domain expansion titled Self-Embodiment of Perfection. This is just like the other domains in game because they're all named the exact name they have in the anime/manga. Inside of this domain, you now have a bar besides your character, and if you are near the domain caster, then this bar will drain. When your bar reaches 0, you die. This is essentially a simplified version of the real thing. It was first seen in his near-death experience against these two, where on death's doorstep he unlocked something and tried to expand his domain. Although Mahito's self-embodiment of perfection has never been effective throughout the entire series, this domain started from the hand seals in his mouth and then sprouted hands until it created the barrier. Fortunately, Yuji was outside of it, so he was able to break in to save Nanami, therefore only leaving us to see what his domain looks like and not the sure hit function. We then got to see it again in Shibuya, but only for 0.2 seconds because his true intention was not to create the domain. This again didn't really show us much, but we now know that Mahito's domain allows you to use idle transfiguration without landing a palm on your opponent. This is why in game you don't have hands going all over the place, because that would just be broken, but instead it just creates a closed space for you to track down your opponents. The domain looks extremely similar to JJS, but it's much more goofy with the hands looking like octopus legs. Perfection then got the 10 shadows treatment and now has a super awakening. This is taken from his transformation into his final form called Instant Spirit Body of Distorted Killing. Mahito learned the true essence of this soul and brought its peak out with this form. As you can see, the transformations are just alike. As stated earlier, you must land 2 black flashes in order to achieve this super awakening. This is due to Mahito having the same requirements in the show. The visual indicator for this awakening is the arm blades that you get that are exactly the same like Mahito's in his awakened state. I won't spend too much time on these, but let's start with the widespread strikes that look like this and are taken from his brief exchange with Yuji right after he awakened. The finisher for this attack is a black flash, but this is not taken from any moment in the fight. Face Blitz looks like this and is inspired by this attack that left a crater in the ground. Also, you get a unique dash when in the super awakening, which allows you to slash up your opponent if you dash into contact with them. Again, this is not specifically from anything, but definitely something Mahito was doing while fighting Yuji. Finally is crushing Rushdown. The user pulls in the target with black whips, then kicks them before grabbing them again and running with them like a shield, finally swinging and sending them flying. I think this move is inspired by Mahito's self-awakening, but not a move that he does. You can see him use these black hair whips here, and to confirm they're the same thing, you can see that they actually come from your head in game. On top of that, there is this moment after Yuji uses Curse Strike's aerial, he gets caught and flung away just like you do in the game. So not exactly canon, but still inspired. Also, there's no finisher for this attack. But before we get into the grading, one little Easter egg is for the blocking animation, which is a nod to this moment where Yuji couldn't do any damage to Mahito in his new awakened state. Well, this is the part of the video where I grade how similar the JJS character is to the JJK counterpart. Almost everything, including the special, the moveset, the running animation, the awakening, etc. is on brand. The only thing that doesn't line up to me is Drill Splitter, leaving me to give Perfection an A similarity rating to Jujutsu Kaisen. Millz Mafia out. Yeah.